Howdy guys, hope y'all are doing well. Today we're going to go over the topic of the fear of the Lord. Now, this is a very interesting topic. So there's a lot of people that think that, and even I have said this once in a video, it was one line I remember saying it. Does fear the Lord only mean to revere God? Or does it really mean to fear Him? Or does it mean both? So we're going to talk about this topic because it has vast repercussions for all the people living today, and it gives us, who are on the other side of the cross that are in Jesus, something truly to glorify God over. Okay? So we're going to start in Proverbs 1 verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So the beginning of all knowledge, the beginning of knowledge is to fear God. But fools, what does it say? The knowledge, the fear of the Lord, it is juxtaposed with wisdom and instruction. Okay? But fools despise wisdom and instruction. So now let's go to Deuteronomy 10, 20 through 21. So the beginning of knowledge, remember that. That's going to be very important later. The beginning of knowledge is fear of the Lord. So Deuteronomy 10, 20 through 21. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, and Him shalt thou serve, and to Him shalt thou cleave, and swear by His name. He is thy praise, He is thy God, that hath done for thee these great and terrible things, which thine eyes have seen. Okay, so it says to fear the Lord thy God, and it also says to cleave to Him. That's interesting words that are used together. To cleave is like in a relationship. It's like something you cleave to your husband or to your wife. So that is interesting that the fear of the Lord is tied into relationship there. Okay, so what does it mean? What does He say that backs up why you should fear God? Okay? If you look in verse 21, for these great and terrible things which thine eyes have seen. What did their eyes, the Israelites at this time, had just seen? They just saw God judge Egypt for their sins and iniquities, for putting the Israelites in bondage and refusing to come to a knowledge of God. Refusing, because remember the Pharaoh, he goes, who is God that I should worship Him? So he refused knowledge, just as it says in Proverbs 1, the fool despiseth instruction. So, and then he wrought these many miracles, these judgments upon the Egyptians for their sins and their refusal to come to the knowledge of God. So now let's go to Matthew. This will be Matthew 10, 28. Matthew 10, 28. Now what does Jesus say? Okay, about fear. And fear not them which kill the body, so don't fear just men, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear Him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. So to fear God above all men. Don't fear men, but fear God. Now let's go to Isaiah 13, 11. Isaiah 13:11, and it says, and I will punish the world for their evil, and for the wicked for their iniquity. I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So God is literally saying here that He is going to punish the whole world for their evil, for the wickedness and their iniquities. So to fear God is to be mindful of His judgments. Okay? To fear God, number one. To fear God is to first believe God exists, to know He exists. Number two, to realize that since God does exist, He is the perfect moral arbiter of all creation. And third, to know that He is all-powerful, and since He is the all-moral arbiter of creation, and He is perfect, then He must judge sin. He must judge wrongdoing and iniquity. Fools, as it says in Proverbs 1, don't like that. They don't like the idea of there being a moral arbiter over their actions. They don't like being held accountable of the things they do. That's why they are called fools. Now, let's go to Psalm 37 through 38. Psalm 37 through 38. 37 through 38. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together, and the end of the wicked shall be cut off. So it's saying here, mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. That is entering into God's rest. Okay? Entering into that perfect Sabbath. But the transgressors, what is the transgressors? These is the transgressors of the law, those that sin against God, shall be destroyed. Okay, so let's go to Romans 2. Okay, Romans 2. And see where things start to get really, really interesting. 2:12 through 16. For as many as have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. In other words, we all have a moral code within us, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the mean, while accusing or else excusing one another. Excuse me. And in the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, according to my gospel. Okay, so everybody's going to be judged. It ain't just going to be Israel. It ain't just going to be those that are under the law or not under the law. It's going to be everybody. Paul specifically says that the moral law is in every creature, okay? Every human being. Now let's go to Romans 3:9. Remember in Psalm where it talked about the righteous man, the perfect man. Watch what Paul says. What then? Are we better than they? In no wise. For we have proved both Jews and Gentiles that they are all under sin. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth, there is none that seeketh after God. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. So, what in the world? How can there be a perfect man that is going to inherit peace? But then Paul says there is none that are perfect, none that are righteous. And that God is going to judge everybody. We come to the knowledge of God. We fear God because of His judgments when we realize that we are sinners and that there is none that are righteous. That we are not righteous before a holy God. That is the beginning of knowledge. Okay? So, where does this go from here? You remember the perfect and the right man in Psalm? Okay. Let's go to Colossians 2:2-3. Colossians 2:2-3. That their hearts might be comforted, being knit together in love, and under all riches of the full assurance of understanding, and to the acknowledgement of the mystery of God, and of the Father and of Christ, in whom are hidden all the treasures and wisdom and knowledge. So all the treasures and wisdom and knowledge is within Christ. Okay? Now it says their hearts being knitted together in love. Remember that. Okay? Knitted together. With who? Okay, now let's go to Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 5:21-22. Or just 21. For He, that's Christ, hath made Him to be sin for us, or God, for He hath made Christ to be sin for us, who knew no sin, Christ was perfect, that we might be made the righteousness of God. So, in other words, that perfect man we just read about in Psalms, we have to be in Christ to be made perfect, to be made, come into that peace. Okay? There's no other way to be perfect and come to that peace and rest that God has without being in the perfect human being that carried the sins of all the world for us. Okay? Now, let's go to Romans 10, 2 through 4. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God. This is the unbelieving Jews, but not according to knowledge. Not according to knowledge. For they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. For Christ is the end of the law, for righteousness to everyone that believeth. For Christ is the end of the law, for righteousness to everyone that believeth. There are those that think that they can earn God's favor and earn God's salvation on their own without Christ. They may have zeal, but they don't have knowledge. Remember, the knowledge is of God's perfect moral character. These people think that they're good enough to come before and stand before a mighty God on judgment, before His judgment. But it says that Christ, He's the only one that fulfilled the entire law. He is the end of the law of righteousness to everyone that believeth. To everyone that believeth and becomes one with Christ, that are put into Christ. Now let's go to Psalm 2:12. Psalm 2:12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in Him. So the knowledge of God is to realize that we are fallen, we are sinners, and we are standing before a perfect and mighty God. That's a terrifying feeling. That is a terrifying thought, to know that every action and thought we have ever had will be judged before the perfect God. And it says, kiss the Son. And what does it say after this? Blessed are all they that put their trust in Him. So we must put our trust within Christ, and we are blessed. Now let's go to Ephesians 3:17. Ephesians 3:17 through 19. That Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which what passeth knowledge, that ye might be filled with all the fullness of God. So the love of Christ passes all knowledge. What is the beginning of knowledge? Realizing you stand before a holy and righteous God. But the love of Christ passes all knowledge. It overcomes all knowledge. Okay? And all the judgments of God. Because He was the one who bared all the judgment and wrath of God for your sin and my sin. So, those that come to Christ must come in faith, hearts of faith. The love of Christ surpasses all knowledge. And what is the beginning of all knowledge? Fear the Lord, the knowledge of His judgment. So we must first fear God before we can taste the love of God. So what does it mean for love to surpass all knowledge? What does that mean? 1 John 4:17 through 20. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have a boldness in the day of judgment, because as He is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. We love Him because He first loved us. So that fear, now we are all 100% called to fear the Lord and to revere the Lord. But the fear of judgment, the fear of the wrath of God, those that are put into Christ have no fear of God, of that judgment, because we are in Christ. That judgment has passed from us, and love has conquered all that knowledge. All those sins and the shortcomings we have before the perfect and mighty God are gone because of Christ. Christ loved us so much, and and we love Him because He first loved us. I hope this was interesting and edifying. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll catch y'all next time, and God bless.